Welcome to City Times, your number one place for Manchester City match updates, transfer news, and behind-the-scenes training action. If you love City as much as we do, you're in the right place. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay connected with everything happening at the City fans. Let's go, Citizens! Why Manchester City have signed £20 million. Marc Guehi, Pep Guardiola factor, transfer coup, player ambition. Manchester City are set to confirm the £20 million signing of Marc Guehi from Crystal Palace in the coming days. Manchester City are convinced Marc Guehi represents one of the best value deals in recent history. City will pay an initial £20 million for the England and Crystal Palace defender, rising to £30 million depending on appearances and certain successes. There is also a percentage sell-on clause inserted in the deal, while City chairman Khaldoon Al-Mubarak has agreed to double Guehi's wages to £200,000 a week. But given some of the previous spending City have indulged in, combined with the fact Guehi is 25 and not even approaching his peak yet, senior club figures are thrilled with getting such a signing over the line. As reported here last week, City have stolen a march on Liverpool, not to mention some of Europe's biggest clubs, to land the centre-back. It's understood in Palace's decision to sell Guehi before he became a free agent in June was the catalyst for Oliver Glasner deciding to leave the club at the end of this season. But this won't concern City. Pep Guardiola approached Al-Mubarak earlier this month, asking the club to explore the chances of getting Guehi, when he realised injuries to Josko Gvardiol and Ruben Dias would knock a huge hole in his defensive options. With Arsenal continuing to lead the title race, Guardiola knew he had to do something fast. Talks between the two clubs accelerated earlier this week, but Guardiola has admired Guehi from afar for a couple of seasons. He likes Guehi's calmness in possession, ability to bring the ball out of defence, and his dedication to being the best footballer he can be. The Spaniard also identified Guehi as the long-term replacement for John Stones. Guehi had his pick of around 6 clubs, including Bayern Munich and Inter Milan, but once Guardiola's interest became known to him, his mind was made up. Few players would reject the chance to work for one of the greatest managers of all time, and Guehi is no different. There is the added incentive of challenging for the biggest trophies in club football and regular Champions League competition, but Guehi has told people close to him that he expects Guardiola to take his game to a whole new level. Guehi's arrival at the Etihad will spell bad news for Stones. He is out of contract at the end of this season and was hoping to sign an extension with Guardiola's men. But no agreement has been reached, with Guardiola having reservations about the centre-back's fitness problems. Stones, who will be 32 in May, has been restricted to just 7 league appearances this season due to injuries, and he knows he will fall down the pecking order once City secure the services of England teammate Guehi. Gary Neville slams worst decision ever as Pep Guardiola backed over Man City via fume. Gary Neville has backed Pep Guardiola after the Man City boss aired his frustration over Antoine Semenyo's disallowed goal against Newcastle United. Gary Neville has backed Pep Guardiola's frustration over Antoine Semenyo's disallowed goal in the match against Newcastle United. The recent Man City recruit had already netted one and believed he doubled his score just minutes later. The Gun Iron international nudged Tijani Reigada's corner past Nick Pope, only for Stuart Atwell on VAR to suggest Chris Kavanagh review the footage. The referee subsequently disallowed the goal, ruling Erling Haaland to be offside and having interfered with Newcastle's attempt to clear the ball. Despite his team leading 2-0 into the second leg thanks to Rayan Cherki's later goal, Guardiola was visibly irate at the final whistle. On the overlap, Stick to Football podcast, Neville said, "I thought it was the worst decision I have ever seen. I think Pep was absolutely spot on. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Haaland was never getting near that goalkeeper." Ex-United midfielder Roy Keane pondered if Haaland could have been more strategic with his positioning, but criticised VAR for its lengthy decision-making process. Neville added, "The keeper was nowhere near Haaland. The defender would never have stopped that." It was one of those with VAR that winds everyone up because it's the tiniest little thing. Former Liverpool defender Jamie Carragher chimed in. Neville said, "Newcastle aren't quite getting results, but every time I watch them, I like them. I like watching Newcastle play. I think they play the right way." Post-match, Guardiola expressed his frustration and said, "I will say it now. I would like to know why VAR in 60 minutes in the Premier League game at Newcastle, when we lost 2-1, it was 0-0, and it was an insane penalty on Shah for Phil Foden, and not even a consideration. And at 20 minutes, there is an unbelievable penalty from a shot from Jeremy Doku that hit Thiaur's hand, and not even VAR." Today, 4 people were not able to decide because the line was, I don't know, but the second goal that Newcastle scored in November, the line was perfect. I'm not suspicious of that in 10 years. I didn't say anything when we lost 2-1 here. I didn't say anything in the FA Cup final against Crystal Palace when it was a red card after 30 minutes for Dean Henderson. Did I say anything? No, it's okay, it's fine. In the same stadium where VAR didn't intervene, take a look at 60 minutes and 20 minutes. Take a look at the 2 penalties. Coming here and winning 1-0 or 2-0 is a big advantage and a big difference for us. I don't give any credit from Newcastle. They won deservedly the Premier League game, but why did it intervene in those 2 moments? And today it was more than 6 minutes, and they were not able to discuss with the referee to do it? They will call me and explain it to me. Manchester City transfer 2 exits expected as citizens prepare. Guehi bid Manchester City are working to reshape their defence during this January transfer window, with 2 departures expected and an offer being prepared for Marc Guehi. During the last January window, Manchester City broke the bank by investing over €200 million, £175.6 million, to strengthen Pep Guardiola's squad, who appeared to be losing steam. Abdulkadir Kusanov, Omar Marmoush and Nico all arrived at the Manchester club. This winter, the Sky Blues struck hard from the outset by signing Antoine Semenyo for €72 million, £63.3 million. The English Giants do not intend to stop there. Indeed, Manchester City appear set to reshape their defence. While a right-back is still being sought, the second-placed Premier League side first want to focus on the Stones and Ake heading for Manchester City. Exit in 2026.